and good evening. Welcome to MYgration Films. Oh, there's a weird echo. Leo, can you do anything about that echo? Hi, everyone. Welcome to MYgration Films Watch Party. Um, we're going to first show Ella's film, Passion and Pride. Ella, tell us about yourself.
Hey, so I'm Gabriella Rodriguez. I go by she, her, and ella pronouns, and I live here in the Central Florida area. And I had the opportunity to be the 2023 one of the recipients and subjects of the FusionFest MYgration video, and it was an impactful experience. And I look forward to sharing more in a little bit.
So tell us, what is your journey about being LGBTQ here in Orlando?
Yeah, so as someone that was adopted at a very young age and migrated here to the Central Florida area, I found myself in a lot of different situations that I didn't feel like I belonged. So it was always kind of searching for what that looked like for me. And throughout the years, I faced homelessness and other different experiences. So I kind of just traveled around Central Florida and to other parts of the state. So I've had an opportunity to meet some amazing individuals and learn about not only my own history, but kind of learn how Florida's really became my home. And since then, I have three little ones, 17-year-olds, a 13-year-old, and 11-year-old. They
God,
share space with me in the Central Florida area. And being a queer advocate has really allowed me to give visibility to other queer folks within these spaces. And I currently serve as a case manager with the LGBTQ Center and the executive director of a small nonprofit called Q Latinx.
how have you seen the LGBTQ community change? How long have you been
here? So I've been here in Florida for 24 years, but I think when it came to the LGBT community, I think after the Pulse tragedy in 2016 is when a lot of visibility was given, especially within the media and just like the pouring of individuals just wanting to figure out how to help. And that's really how I came into the advocacy scene. So it's changed quite a bit. I think that we still within these spaces and the current legislation, I think it's really important for us to lift up queer stories, to know that we're still here and we're thriving.
All right, Leo, Passion and Pride.
We love and we live and we play in the same spaces. We hurt and we cry the same way, and we also have families. And at the end of the day, we're trying to do the best. We're in the same race, and hate is real, and I don't know. I want to be remembered as someone that invested in other people. I want to be remembered that was able to change someone's mind or able to give someone clarity on something. I want to be just a piece of someone's puzzle, bigger puzzle, and know that I was able to lead them to someone else. I was able to support them or help them or uplift them, and to know that it's a journey and that they can do it. My name is Gabriella Rodriguez. I use she, her, and ella pronouns. I serve as the executive director for Q Latinx and a case manager under the LGBTQ Center Orlando. So I was originally born in Chicago, Illinois, and I actually migrated here at a very young age when I was adopted. I identify as a proud, queer, Latinx woman of color. I'm Mexican and Puerto Rican background. I have my own nonprofit which works with those that sit at the intersection of LGBTQ and Latinx, which means a lot to me. I grew up in a very religious household, wasn't really able to live my truth or my identity. I was able to look up to queer leaders like Sylvia Rivera. I felt like I couldn't be who I wanted to be, and within that space, it was letting go of the religion piece, and that meant a divide in my family. I migrated several times back and forth within friends, within living in hotels. I met some amazing individuals. Had some very scary times while I was homeless, but I also realized that there was a need for community here. Another thing that's really important to me and Q Latinx and the work that we do is to make sure that it's bilingual. We have a very large percentage of Latinx folks that live here in the state, in Orange County. Spanish language is very gendered. It's masculine or feminine, right? So the X is the inclusion of everyone. So actually this morning is when we noticed it, is we had some of our murals that were defaced that are LGBTQ focused. There's that need to band together and more reason to have these safe spaces open to say, hey, like, we recognize this. I think it impacts us greatly, like I mentioned before. I think it ignites us and it puts a little bit more fire under us to be able to say, like, no, we can't let this happen.
She's on the front lines here, day to day. You saw what happened at the mural, and it's something that we face every day on a daily basis. Actually, here being different, being queer in Orlando.
Bueno, yo le diría que es una bella persona, que ayuda mucho a la comunidad y que es dada para la comunidad con mucho amor.
She's so passionate, and I'm a passionate person. So I'm like, yeah, she's doing it. I wanna be like her when I grow up, right?
I was looking for things to do in Orlando, especially finding that second purpose for me after the Army. And I think I walked into her office and I never left. So I've been there advocating and being Gabby's right hand ever since. So.
Yo llegué a conocer a Gabriela pidiendo ayuda y ella me ofreció una familia en un país donde llegué solo, donde estaba sin documentación, donde me habían robado mi dinero. Y ella me acogió sin conocerme más allá, con respeto. Bueno, te da un grado de confianza en el cual tú puedes demostrarte y ser realmente quién eres tú. Darse el tiempo de saber que es importante para la otra persona poder desahogarse y tú darle esa confianza, tener tú esa capacidad, eso, wow, no lo hace cualquier persona.
What I can tell you, to me right now, what's important, and I want everybody to know, is just 3 words. I love Gabriella. Thank you.
What did James mean you again? When was the last time you'd seen it?
Can you repeat that one more time? I'm so sorry.
I said, how do you feel seeing that movie again? When was the last time you'd seen it?
Ooh, I want to say when we were at FusionFest. So that's been a little bit of time. So I got teary-eyed because
I see.
it's powerful.
So, what was your experience like? I mean, you met Benjamin on Friday night, and then you had to trust Scott to tell your story. What was that like?
It was an amazing experience. Benjamin was phenomenal. I think we already came with kind of like a vision of what I envisioned it to look like, and he kind of rode with it within 5 days, and he did it. It was an awesome experience, and I really think that he was able to hold the narrative. He was able to hold my experience with grace. it so happened that the murals had happened at that time, and he was able to capture that piece as well. And I think it was really able to tie into the story about the things that happen within our communities on a daily that sometimes we don't see.
Do you see it getting better in Orlando? The acceptance of the LGBTQ community?
Do I feel like we are more accepted now, is what you're saying? I think in certain instances, I think right now, again, with all the anti-LGBTQ rhetoric that's happening within our state, it's really become difficult for a lot of LGBTQ folks just to show up and be authentically themselves. I think we've now had to really lean in on community and lean in on those that have been there since, right? So yeah, it's different every day. It's different every day. I think every time when I walk into the LGBTQ center, there's always a different situation happening. But I know that being able to share these narratives and experiences of other LGBTQ folks gives visibility that we can do it and that we can push through.
Now, I don't think many people realize from your story, but your birth heritage is Puerto Rican, and it just so happened that a Puerto Rican family adopted you. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm Puerto Rican and Mexican, and I was actually adopted by a Puerto Rican family. And so I was raised with a lot of Puerto Rican culture. So it's now at almost 38 that I'm now exploring my Mexican culture. So I've actually had a chance to reach out to my biological family. I've shared space with them a couple of times, and it's really like learning what that is and asking questions. And I've really had an opportunity to kind of pick at my biological mom's brain, because my grandmother was a big activist in the community in Chicago. She has a beautiful mural in Humboldt Park. She just got honored by the Literacy Museum in Chicago for some of the poetry that she did. So just learning her story has really moved me and kind of like the spaces that I'm in. And I sit there and I look back at some of like her like video shorts and some of just her narratives, and it's powerful. And I'm like, wow, like I grew up millions of miles away and not even in the same space, but yet I share that advocacy piece. It's powerful. It's very powerful.
Do you find your birth family more accepting than your adopted family?
Yes, in certain instances, yes. I still think I'm trying to figure out what that relationship looks like now as an older adult, and trying to figure out, right, that's 38 years of life. So I'm really trying to navigate that, but I would say that they are definitely way more accepting of my queerness. They're accepting of my children. Yeah, but I do also give grace and light to the family that raised me, even though we don't communicate the way that I would love for us to communicate. I do think that they did the best they could with what they had and the knowledge that they had. So,
and how do you orient your children as far as being accepting about people with difference and diversity? I mean, DEI is such a big thing now. How do you teach that to your children?
Yeah, so my kids have literally been advocacy kids. They've shown up with me since they were able to walk. And what's amazing is that my community has accepted them since then. I look back at pictures of us doing different like community events and activities. And now that they're a little bit older, they're like, wow, but they've really been able to carry on those narratives outside of me even having a conversation with them, because they've been to rallies, because they've been to protests, because they've been in conversations or heard me speak in different spaces. And it really makes me proud when I hear them and they're talking about pronouns or accepting someone in the LGBT community. It makes me happy. It makes me happy that even though I haven't always had a chance to explain every little thing, that they're listening. So our kids do see, our kids do listen, and
they see everything. They don't miss a trick. Well, that's fantastic that you've been able to share that and reach out to your birth family. Did you ever show them this video?
Did I show them this video? Yes, I did when I went up this past time in Puerto Rico, and it
And
was
what
a whole. They were proud of me. They mentioned all the things that it reminded me of her mom, and kind of the road that she went down and the journey she went down as an advocate, and it spoke volumes. She was really proud of me.
That's cool. Well, Gabriella was a subject from our 2023 film contest. Austin was a filmmaker from 2019.
Hello, everyone.
That was the first year where we randomly paired everyone up. And Austin did it the year that we had 2 days, 48 hours. Can you tell us about that, Austin?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Gabriella, that was the first time I saw your movie. It was beautiful. It was great. Good story. And the film was good as well. But so that was interesting because we only had 2 days to do it, and we got paired up randomly on site. And my subject, her name was Yasmin, and she was from Palestine, and she wanted to. The point of the competition was to express how we brought people. Someone migrated in and their unique story. And so for her, she was really trying to find ways, because she left her homeland as a kid, how to bring Palestine back to her home and in her house and keep her culture and heritage alive. So through the film, we tried to explore some of the art that she has in her house, some of the food that she likes to have. She kind of talks about the community that she was looking for. And, I think that that's a pretty powerful story that she was trying to share there, and
I wish I tried to get a hold of her. She never replied to me.
yeah, I think she was alive on the last one, and the last watch party you did with the film, so that's good. She was there at least once.
Yeah.
Um,
And Gabriella, you have to give me your new phone number because I don't have the proper phone number on you. If you could email it to me, this way in the future, moving down the line. Now, Austin, you only had 2 days. What do you would have done different if you had 5 days?
I probably would have tried to go shopping, because the kinds of food and the heritage that she's a part of, the Middle Eastern culture, they tend to have really interesting shops where they'll have a grocery store inside of a restaurant, inside of a clothing shop. So they have almost like a bodega thing going on, and that would have been fun. I would have taken some time to go there. She mentioned some community centers she takes her children to. I would have gone there and checked that out. Definitely fix the sound problem that I had back at the time. But with artificial intelligence, I was able to get it fixed. So this version we watched today should sound better, hopefully.
All right. Well, why don't we watch it and then we'll talk some more.
Let's do it.
Leah, Palestine, Elcom.
Uncaught their lips and the spark in their watery eyes. How they used to walk around town with all types of stone buildings, beautiful arches, tall palm trees, and domed roofs. My name is Yasmin Zayed, and this is the story of how I bring Palestine to home. This one says Ahlan wa Sahlan, which means welcome in Arabic. So when the Gulf War happened, I was 4 years old. It happened in 1990, and I was born in 1986. I vaguely remember, just leaving the house I grew up in. I remember we had some toys in the backyard, like a red seesaw, and just leaving all that behind and literally just carrying what we had on, like the clothes we had on our backs, and just going to Jordan. It was like a state of emergency, obviously, in Kuwait. That's when the Iraqis invaded Kuwait, and we ended up moving to Jordan and building our life again in Jordan. My dad got his engineering degree from the United Kingdom. While he was in Kuwait, he used to go back and forth to get his degree from the UK. He ended up moving to California, working with aircrafts and engineering. And we kind of followed him when we were younger, about 4 years old. And then I guess my mom, kind of was feeling homesick and wanted to go back to her family. And even my dad, I do believe, he needed to be next to his parents. So after establishing himself here, he kind of had the opportunity to go back in Jordan with that same field, to stay in that field. There's a proverb that I like in Islam. It says basically, love for your brother what you love to yourself. So anything that you feel like people can give you, definitely be, kind of like it's karma. Like in English, when we say, karma, be good to people, and the universe will be good to you. So yeah, I mean, in general, like the generosity and the hospitality of the Arab community is very well known. Everyone that travels there would always tell me about, how hospitable people are, how the food is so great, especially when it's homemade, and that's part of our culture. So here we have a traditional Palestinian breakfast. And it's very nice to know that all these ingredients are available at the Mediterranean market here in Central Florida. When I moved to Central Florida, I definitely wanted to find people from my community. My sister has already been, living here for years before I moved in. So she already knew some of the community members that are from Jordan or Palestine. I did reach out to the mosque as well to see what they offered, especially for kids. Since I have a 5-year-old, I did want her to be involved with kids from her own culture and to kind of learn the religion or religious values as well. I also reached out to the American Arab community. They have a huge center here that usually has activities for kids, especially when Eid is here, which is like the Muslim holidays, twice a year. They have a huge event with, like bouncy houses and face painting for the kids and a lot of vendors for us to interact with. So I was very glad when I moved to Central Orlando to see that there are a lot of Palestinians and Arabs living here comfortably, presenting what they have, presenting their heritage, and interacting with others, other people, other Americans and Palestinians as well. Living in Central Florida has shown me that, a city that is like a melting pot. It really is. At my job as a pharmacist, my next door colleague sitting on the next desk, she's Korean. I have a Puerto Rican friend, someone from Detroit. So we kind of all met together and we really shared the experiences we have as a community. I like to take, the positives, obviously, from each culture, and I like to expose people to our culture as well for them to pick up some of the positives that we have, because that's what, living in a diverse community is, just taking the positive things and hopefully eliminating all the negative thoughts that we have about each other.
I wish Jasmine would be here.
Yeah.
Middle East.
She was great.
I really thank you for her thoughts on how it's affected the Palestinian community here. But what did you learn about the Palestinian people to make this film?
I learned that they're not much different than, let's say, the Puerto Rican people. I really felt like I was at my grandma's house when I came over. She had all this food laid out, ready to go, and it was like she was waiting for me to finish so we can just eat. She didn't even know me. And I remember that year, a common theme through most of the movies were food, and food really brings people together. It crosses boundaries in ways that, it's unimaginable. So that's the biggest thing, is that food really brings people together. And she talked about the Mediterranean market, and doing the religion with her family. Religion's a big part of it too. She has a local mosque, and the fact that she can still keep her kids in that is important.
Yeah, I love this film. She was so honest about her coming here and what it meant for her. I hope she's doing okay. I hope the family's doing okay. Did you learn anything about yourself as a filmmaker making this?
That's a good question. I would say that I learned there's always something to learn from every experience, right? So I'm trying to dig it out. Definitely
Better audio.
Better audio. Oh yeah, I learned that one, and ever since then, I've spent more money on audio than I have on most other things. But probably would have tried to plan something outside of the house just to try and get a little more coverage on, some other kind of perspective other than her just sitting down. I got her making the tea, but definitely the audio thing because I ran into an audio issue, and that kind of preoccupied my entire post. So
Right.
from a very technical sense, I was very proud of this movie. I never really had a subject that was as important as this one, and I've always kind of gone away with subpar audio, and then all of a sudden, I wasn't ready to have such a serious, important movie come out of my camera, and the audio just didn't hold up. So the fact that we have AI, I was able to get it fixed. It sounds miles better now than it did back then.
Now that you mentioned it, I remember the audio issues.
And something else that I kind of, it finally came to me. What I actually learned as a filmmaker, besides the audio, what it grew from me was at the beginning, you saw all this random kind of footage of like old Disney World and her father driving a bike. Her father uploaded all of the home movies to YouTube, and that's awesome. So part of what I have been doing since then is I have a company. It's my name, tributestream.com. We live stream funerals and memorials for families that can't attend here locally in Orlando. And part of where my company eventually wants to go as its founder is to archive and be the host of other people's family footage and kind of help maintain a film archive for everyone. So, YouTube's great, but that's YouTube, and who knows what could happen. So it'd be nice to have a dedicated, almost private, and gives people the point to do it. People don't realize that their media can be gone in a split second. So that was really cool, being able to pull stock footage that her father filmed years ago. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that.
My dad shot 8mm film when I was growing up, and he at some point put it on VHS.
That's great.
So I heard that, but yeah, to have footage is priceless.
It really is. And we're in a place where you can digitize this and it looks great. It wasn't like this 10 years ago. This is a huge revolution. We have the bandwidth and the storage to really archive things in perpetuity. So let's do it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. 100%. I love the fact that my dad, took all those movies, and some people's old movies are on 16mm. Before there was 8mm, people were using 16. So,
yeah. And it kind of goes to your story, Gabriella. Now that it's on video and it's digitized and we're all watching it and rewatching it, people learn from history. And we have so much history that's not recorded. But now we're in a point where everything we do is recorded. And that's going to be really good for us in the future. And so I'm glad that you're able to share and be a part of this as well. And that FusionFest is here. This is awesome.
Yeah, well, again, if anyone wants to either be a subject or a filmmaker, you can go to fusionfest.org/film. Austin, I'm waiting for you to go as soon as we hang up.
Yep. I'm going to sign up tonight.
Now that you have all this breadth of experience, see what you can do in 5 days. And actually, I don't think yours was 2019. I think yours was 2020.
Was it 2020? I think it was 2019 we got together, then maybe it was for the 2020. Or am I wrong on that?
I don't know. Because the beginning of the film that we used was a transition we used. It wasn't 2019.
Huh, okay.
Maybe it was.
That was the folder I when I pulled it out of. Who knows?
Now that I think about it, maybe it was. I told him that my mother's memory words saved me the room next to hers. So, anything else that you would want to say about their experience or what this meant to them, Gabriella?
I think back now that what Austin says is how we're able to digitize this and really catch the momentum. I think of 20, 30 years from now, my kids watching it, or me being an older individual watching this, and how that's gonna be impactful of how that was captured. So I'm just grateful for this experience and being able to be a part of the space. I think y'all did an amazing job. And I think, yeah.
Austin,
Um,
give you last words.
Last words. Oh, that's big. You know, if you haven't already signed up for FusionFest, go ahead and do it. Definitely, if you're a filmmaker, we have 5 days now, right, to make it.
Yeah, 5 days.
5 days. So it's a good experience. You know, I learned a lot, both artistically as a filmmaker and technically as a filmmaker. Believe it or not. So, highly recommend FusionFest.
Not this year, the year before that, one of the filmmakers actually taught themselves claymation.
Wow, that's cool.
5 days, yeah. I was like, how did you do claymation? Like, I did myself. I was like, wow.
Yeah, there's something different about having the responsibility of someone else's story in your hands versus your own story that's fake. But when you have someone else's story, you kind of got to give it a different kind of care, and who knows what you'll come up with.
Yeah. I've been blown away. Every film that we've ever done is just that we just throw you all together and we get these amazing films. It just warms my heart.
Mine's too. They're all great.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming. Happy April, and we'll be talking.
Sounds great. Y'all have a great afternoon.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. Thank you, Theo.